Cool.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our workshop. So I guess I just want to thank again all of the speakers, thank our sponsor, Lennox, who's going to pay for our dinner tonight, and thank the AV support staff here. You guys have been great, so thanks Nathan and Steve. Um, yeah, I guess, are there any closing logistical things we want to talk about? So we will do some tours of CHPB, Center for High Performance Buildings facilities. So we have a couple of interesting test beds, some big psych chambers and things like that, that if you would like to see, it's about maybe a 10 to 15 minute walk from here. We can also organize some carpools there. Dinner is in downtown Lafayette. It's on Main Street, and the restaurant is called Ripple and Company. If you just Google map that, you'll find it no problem. It's maybe a 15-ish minute walk from here, or you can drive down. Parking is usually not a big issue there. Jim, any other logistics that we should go through?
I don't think so. I think that covers it. Yeah.
Okay. We also, again, in addition to the workshop, the IBO is a paper track within the High Performance Buildings Conference that's coming up over the next few days. I think a lot of folks in the room probably are presenting papers in some of those sessions. But we have research sessions on model predictive control, on reinforcement learning, fault detection and diagnostics, advanced modeling and simulation tools, and other topics as well. There's also a Sadi Carnot session in honor of Carnot, who his landmark paper on the second law of thermodynamics and efficiency limits for heat engines that came out 200 years ago. So it's sort of an anniversary session. And then there'll be a student paper session as well for the High Performance Buildings Conference. And a couple of the candidates presented today. So maybe you can go back and look at their paper and presentation again with a more critical eye and see who your vote for best paper would be. Anything else? Okay, let me just open up.
I guess those that are interested in the walk over to the Eric Labs, maybe come down to the front, at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, right. So if you need a ride over to Herrick, or if you want directions walking over to Herrick, we can just come down here and organize in the front at the end. Thanks. And then if anybody has questions, comments, general thoughts on the themes that we talked about today, I guess we could spend a few minutes discussing that. So any takeaways here, folks?
Gregor had a few thoughts. Gregor, can you hear us?
Yeah, sure. Am I still audible?
You are, yes.
Yeah. No, these are some observations. I wasn't in the room, and as you know, it's not always exactly the same. But I saw a few themes that I thought were interesting. Again, physical modeling in its ways and manners was highlighted, from reduced order modeling to detailed physical modeling. We had the demonstration case in Hamburg, Germany, or Northern Germany, and we had Philip being a clear advocate of detailed physical models. So I thought that was interesting. But then juxtaposing physical modeling with AI and the promise of AI was expressed by, I think, both Alfonso, but Cheng-Wei Wang voiced some concern about the improper use of AI. So there's some cautionary notes about this. And also an interest was expressed by John and Alfonso on explainability in artificial intelligence. And I think that's an interesting topic and something that, hopefully brings computer science-minded people with building science people together. We always look for ways to improve the way AI can help us, but do it in a way that we can understand and trust the systems. On a different note, I thought was interesting from an entrepreneurial perspective, Todd Ross's remark about don't charge anything until you've really proven your value, which is great if you have the pockets that are deep enough in my thinking that you can try it out with a few customers. And then, unless I fully misunderstood Todd, but it makes sense. Once you're there and they say we haven't paid you at all, but we can't live without you anymore, that is the golden spot you want to be in. But I wonder how that works with students maybe in the room who are thinking about starting a startup company and how long they should wait for that moment to arrive with their technology solutions until customers want to pay and you don't have to pay. So that was, I thought, an interesting remark. I felt there was one thing we saw was in going across the globe today is that there were MPC solutions clearly responded to climate conditions. We had markedly different applications in Germany, thermally activated building systems. I think Philip was in built the Bell application different from the very much chilled water focused work that Sheng Wei Wang in Hong Kong and its heavy air conditioning loads that that are present there. So I thought that was very interesting. Back to AI, the use of AI for simplifying the generation of meta models, data models. I think that was worthwhile observation. And both Subo and Alfonso spoke about the promise of AI in building meta models more quickly. As we know, there is also a highly subjective element to meta model generation. I think from some of the student presentations and some of the field experiments that or field experiments we saw, the the question of how do we calculate savings from advanced control? What's the counterfactual? What are the measurement and verification standards that we should adopt for a fair comparison, one that builds credibility, right? For others to say, hey, I want that solution. How much is it? It seems like you're offering a tangible benefit. And in another or last remark from me was on smart building workforce, blending engineering and computer science is that workforce development component. And that I think is pointing back to us as educators, blend the two. I, for one, am offering a data science for buildings and energy class in my architectural engineering program, but that is something that I think we need to do more of to equip our students for that new world that they're entering. So those are some of the observations I walked away with today, and I really enjoyed the kind of globe-trotting approach to this workshop today. So I would like to say on my behalf, thank you very much for all the speakers and attendees for the outstanding presentations today.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Gregor, for those insights. Just to riff on one or two things that you said. First, on the workforce development component, the sort of fusion of buildings knowledge and domain-specific physical knowledge and modeling and things like that, understanding how HVAC equipment works and how it fails, and then fusing that with the computer science knowledge of both the sort of more IT side of just handling large data sets and messy data sets and so forth, but also, of course, on the machine learning and algorithmic side as well. So it seems like there would be a lot of value in sort of boiling down from the building's perspective, building physics, building science, kind of in the simplest possible form, right? Without all the differential equations and the stuff like that, and boiling it down to an essence that we could share then with the computer science community to bring practitioners a little bit of domain level, sort of introductory level expertise. So that could be fun, like kind of the simplest, the basics of building science for CS people. And then I guess like on the business model and deployment model, we had two really interesting examples. The sort of rooftop unit coordination that Dong Hoon and Todd presented on, which could hit a really broad market segment, right? Rooftop units are sort of all over the small and mid-sized commercial market. And then juxtaposing that with the BuildTwins model that Philip presented on, of really being sort of the one-stop shop for all building data and decision type services, right? And having a digital twin that can be useful for design, for control, for fault detection, for guiding retrofit decisions and things like that. We're really bringing expertise to bear to provide really deep services, but maybe kind of a little bit more narrow because of the human expertise involved in that. So I don't really have a value judgment between those two. It seems like there's plenty of room in the space for both of them, and I hope everybody succeeds. But I'm really curious to see how scaling up works for those two kind of different models. So, okay, any closing comments from anyone else in the room? well, plenty of topics for discussion at dinner tonight. So I guess if you want to do a Herrick tour, please come on down. And otherwise, we will see you at dinner around 6:30 at Ripple, 1007 Main Street in Lafayette.